Susan Walk grew up in the 1960s, a time of immense cultural change and musical evolution. Inspired by the rise of garage bands that followed the Beatles' live performance on The Ed Sullivan Show in 1964, she quickly gravitated towards music. Raised in the small town of Naperville, Illinois, the youngest of three sisters, she began singing with her first band at just 13. A self proclaimed tomboy, Susan took on a variety of unconventional jobs, from pumping gas to driving an asphalt truck, to support her education and independence. She pursued a professional singing career for many years, but eventually found that lifestyle isolating and sought something more fulfilling. In 1974, Susie married Brent, and together they built a life filled with love and resilience. After a long journey of illness, Susan lost Brent this past year, just shy of their 50th wedding anniversary. Nearly 40 years ago, she rediscovered another childhood passion in design. Becoming an interior designer allowed her to channel her creativity in a meaningful way, transforming spaces and enriching the lives of her clients. While music remained a cherished outlet, she chose not to pursue it full time but continues to sing classic rock with a band. Creativity has been the heartbeat of Susie's life, shaping both her career and personal passions. She feels deeply fortunate to have built a life around her artistic instincts. Among her greatest blessings is her remarkable daughter, who recently welcomed a son, making Susie a proud grandmother. With this new chapter, Susie finds even deeper meaning in life, embracing the love and joy that continue to surround her. On She Decides, Susie shares her journey of resilience, reinvention, and the power of making bold choices. Her story is a testament to the strength of women who carve their own path, proving that no matter the chapter, reinvention is always possible. You know who made it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our next podcast of She Decides. I am your host, Stacey Swiderski, and here is Michelle, our guest host. Hello. And we're really excited to introduce our amazing, inspiring guest, Susie Walk.
Thank you very much.
Yes. We're glad to have you.
Ooh, I'm happy to be here.
So, I actually thought it'd be a great idea to have you on the show.
And why?
So,
for so many reasons.
For a lot of reasons.
Oh God, don't bring them all up.
A lot of reasons.
Remember, I still live without a felon.
Yeah. Maybe not for long.
I know. The days are still short.
So, Sue and I met 17 years ago.
God, I can't believe it.
It was a very long time ago. Seems like yesterday. Yeah, 17. And she was working while you were working in a little home design studio store called Maggie's Place, which had a really great backstory, but we're not going to talk about that today. But I went in there.
You never know.
It might come up. Yes. So I actually went in there. I would go in there and buy gifts, closing gifts for my clients, and designing houses, whatever. And Sue and I just struck up this friendship. And I remember thinking, as I got to know her, she was the coolest woman. She has a really great life story. You really just lived your life on your terms, really.
I think so, yeah.
You have.
I mean, it's so perfect for this podcast, right?
It is very perfect.
Her life, her rules, her story. So it's just,
Yeah. And so I've always just admired you for how you've lived your life and just really have done everything just how you wanted to. But more importantly, we've had this great friendship and I get so much from you. So I wanted to have you on the show.
Me too from you.
So, so I guess what I want to do is say, take us back to when you were 13.
Well, other than, what all do you want to know? That I was, the fat little girl with glasses or whatever?
If you want to talk about that, we can.
And, you brought up the thing, you've lived life on your terms. And, that, I'm sorry, but that just hit me because I'm I don't know that I ever chose. I think I just did.
You just,
you
were you though. And that's.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's something that you choose. I wonder, that's kind of an interesting thought.
It is.
What do we choose? What are we? But what Michelle is referring to is, and now I wasn't 13 when this happened, thank goodness, because it was 1964. I was 11 then.
Oh.
When this happened.
Okay.
But the Beatles went on Ed Sullivan.
Mm-hmm.
And every town had like everybody was like, oh my gosh. And I don't know, music had certainly been around for a while,
Absolutely.
many generations. And but everybody felt like they needed to be in a garage band. And so everybody, there were a million of them. I mean, like you could hardly go down a street without hearing a band playing. And I was brought up in a home, the youngest of three daughters, and my mom was a musician, and we all would stand around and sing with my mom at the piano all the time. And they all had their parts by the time I came along, and so I had to hear in harmony to find a note that no one else had, which was what I did from a little girl. And so we would sing and everything, and then rock and roll hit, and I was like, wow, this is really fun.
Before that, were you like singing gospel or something?
Kind of.
Okay.
Oh,
boy.
when you said that, you got in my head like, I love rock and roll.
Yeah.
Another time,
Yeah, that was way later, by the way.
We should probably add that singing on that I just tried to do.
Yeah. No, we would
Maybe.
sing. We would do dishes and sing.
Mm-hmm.
And like I remember, you can't ride in my little red wagon. The axle's broken and the wheels are dragging. First verse, same as the first, a little bit louder, a little bit worse. And we would sing that, and then we would Dona Nobis Pacem. We would sing that because that has beautiful harmonies. Do you know that?
No.
Dona Nobis Pacem Pacem. Anyhow, well, we would
I'll
sing
have
that.
to put that in my iTunes.
I don't know if they had.
I was going to put on our playlist.
But we would do that when we're washing dishes, and then we would do show tunes. We would act out all the shows. We would put on plays, and musicals. When the high I'm hill is, of course, we had to do all of those. We did all the shows, all the everything, and so it was a big deal in my house.
Mm-hmm.
And so then rock and roll came along, and show tunes just weren't doing it for me. And a neighbor 4 doors down started a band, of course, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. So I was probably 12 by then, and I'd go down and hang out and listen to the Beatles songs that they'd be playing or whatever they would be playing, and I'd be coming up with my own harmonies for it. And but I was a kid. Oh my God, I was a kid. And
Imagine like your 12-year-old.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, you just walked around. You didn't.
Different time.
Yeah. You were gone from the house from the minute the sun.
Different
came
world
up.
back then. I'm sure.
And so I would beg them. I'd stand outside the garage and I'd sing, and I'd be like having a blast all by myself. And then I begged them to let me be in the band, and they said no. So then,
And how old were they?
15,
Okay.
16,
Mhm.
right in that area. They're like, get away from me, kid, you about it.
And it was all men.
Oh God, yes.
Right. It was
Oh
all
yeah, there were no girls.
All
in rock.
boys.
Yeah,
There
all
were
boys.
no
Yeah,
girls in rock and
not
roll.
men quite yet.
Yes.
No.
No.
All boys.
Yeah. So I just kept like being a pain, and then this one guy,
Yeah.
and he, hair down to his butt and on a motorcycle and everything, and I bugged him like crazy to let me sing with his band. And this was not the neighbor, because they said absolutely not. And this guy finally, he acquiesced. He's like, I'm sure, because I bugged the crap out of him. He goes, okay, And so I went to practice. My mom drops me off, and there's Harleys in the front yard, and people drinking and smoking grass and stuff. And my mom is like, have fun, honey.
Could you imagine that happened these days?
And I'm like,
No.
okay.
But there was no social media then, so
No.
nobody was going to get in trouble.
And I
right?
was like so scared.
And you were 12, 13?
I was 13. at that
13.
point, yeah.
I was still playing with Barbies at 13.
I know. Well, I was just scared. So I go in the house and hello.
She's over here ready to be a rock star.
Yes.
Hi, my little weirdo. And go downstairs, and there were people making out. Well, I, of course, never seen that. And I'm like, holy shit.
Well, that's because we didn't have Google back then.
Right.
And TV was not good in that regard, And so they were making out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what have I got myself into? My mom is already close.
She's already gone.
See ya, honey, have fun.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah. And I saw them
Beatles,
all
baby.
in 5 minutes, And so then they said, what are you going to sing? And I said, keep me hanging on. and it was more of a vanilla fudge type, not Diana Ross, but so I stood in the corner and I faced this corner and stood by myself in the corner, and I
Like with your back to everyone?
Yeah.
Like literally like
staring
you're in trouble and
into a
time out.
corner. I mean, like I was like 4 feet from the corner, just like with the microphone, and I just went, "Set me free, why don't you, babe?" And then I just got into it, and they said, "Oh, you're hired." And I'm like, "Oh,
So
now what do I
take
do?"
me back that you were in the corner. Is that your choice, or were
Yeah.
they?
No,
they
I
said
was
no?
because
like
I
a
was so
confidence
scared.
issue.
I
Okay,
was
that
so
your
scared I
comfort.
couldn't look at them.
Okay.
Okay.
So that was.
But you
know?
were confident enough to audition for a band, but like just
But see,
nervous.
like I've been singing by myself all the time.
Got you. Right.
You know,
And show tunes
Yeah,
in the kitchen.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the hill is a little comfort.
Yeah.
You know. And so I sang, and they said, "You're hired." So that was the start of what became a lifelong passion for me, and I'm still singing. And
She is still in a band.
I'm still in a band.
She is still the lead singer of a rock band.
I
And
mean,
I'm not going to give away anyone's age without their permission.
I'm 71.
Wow.
And you look fantastic.
Thank you.
I'm
And you're still so young at heart.
so jealous.
I know.
I'm so
And is the
jealous.
lead singer of a rock band.
Yeah,
I love it.
you know, I will never stop. I will never. I mean, I take that back. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I said, you know, I will stop when on my terms.
Mm-hmm.
Like if
When she decides.
Yeah, you know, like if I start sounding like crap, don't get me wrong, I have a bad night every once in a while, but
Yeah.
you know, but if I start sounding like crap to where I go, what the hell am I doing?
I'm hanging up.
Hang up the microphone, someone turn me off. I'm not going to be one of those that has to.
You don't want like the hook to come out.
Right.
Okay.
I'd like to do it on my
Yes.
terms if possible, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And if nobody wants to come and hear me, then apparently, then it's time.
You'll
you know?
notice it's like the crowd slowly
Thins
starts
out.
to like all of a sudden
Thins
you have,
out.
like only one
Or
person.
how about, you know, like heckling from the audience?
Yeah.
Let it go.
But I will tell you this, I have been to events that you've sang at. I've been to like events with your band. I've been to fundraisers that you've done. And there is a group of people that come to see Susie walk.
You have groupies.
She does. And she does.
Yeah.
And you know, she lives in Naperville. She's a Naperville original.
I'm a townie.
She's a townie of
I'm
Naperville.
that one that's left.
Yes, I mean we go to this little restaurant, this little Irish pub.
Oh yeah.
In Naperville, and like she'll tell me stories about that was your friend's house.
It was my friend's house growing up. Yeah.
It's wild, and now it's a restaurant.
And
She's
now
like,
it's a
this is the family room, right?
Yeah.
But I have been to several events
Yeah.
that you've done where people are like, when is Susie singing? And
Yeah.
I'm like, she's
I've
really
been
good.
very
Wow,
fortunate.
like-
Yes.
No, I've been very fortunate. I mean, like,
It's like you feel cool to know the band, don't you?
I'm like, I'm here.
I'm
to
with
sing.
the band.
Yeah.
Just not that bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was growing up in Naperville with music was very cool. I mean, they even built this place called the Barn in
Mhm.
Naperville, and the kids built it themselves, and they were selling bonds to the whole town to make money to build this.
It reminds me of like Footloose. You know,
Almost,
when they-
yeah,
it truly,
almost, yeah.
it was
They
pretty
really
cool
fought
like
for
that.
and yeah.
Yeah, and they built this place, and oh my gosh.
I mean, they just took it down. Like,
yeah, 4 years ago.
yeah, I went to that event with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So all the bands that used to play there back in the 60s and 70s, all these guys and girls came back from all around.
all across the
all
country.
across the
And
country.
it's- this whole time it's been
Yes.
And then we had a reunion, you know, for we called it Barn Stock, and so it was all the bands that grew up at the barn, you know.
But there were also famous bands that sang there to
oh
play
gosh,
there
yeah,
too. Like
I
in your
opened up for the Crying Shames and the Guides of March and Shadows of Night, and you know,
That's so cool.
I played with all. I didn't sing with them. We opened for them.
So speaking on all that, let's kind of take it back to, I mean, why not? It's so you're an inspiration. So for what we're here for, to really let's talk about how you did all this while you were married, had a family.
Oh, I wasn't married at the time.
But I mean,
Right.
but you're now, like,
Yeah.
you've done it all, you're still doing
Yeah.
it, and you raised a daughter, and
Well,
and,
I sang professional.
and you also are an interior designer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not forget
Let's
about
not
that.
forget about
I mean,
that.
she owns her own business.
Yeah.
She's very
Raised
accomplished.
a very cool daughter.
Yes.
I mean, that is so cool.
You know, I don't even think I
you lived
thought
your dream.
about it half the time. You just keep going. I think the most important thing that you have to do is surround yourself with people that inspire you, and I think that's
Amen, sister.
extremely important.
Yes.
And not people that necessarily agree with you, but that can express why they don't, because then we get a chance to learn something new. And I've been party to that many times, and I've learned a lot, And I told my daughter since she was little, nobody ever learned anything from doing everything right.
That's right.
And I said, I've learned a lot.
That's
means
right.
I've done a lot of
Usually
things
you
wrong.
do a lot of things wrong. We talked about that
Yes.
earlier before you
Yes.
really reach whatever your level of success is. That makes
Yeah.
It's not a straight line.
I don't feel as though we as humans do things wrong. I think we do things that become inappropriate. When we gather more information, that a decision we may have made will then become inappropriate. So I think that inspires us to forgive ourselves, because oftentimes we'll make a decision that is wrong.
Forgiveness is key.
But
I think.
But what it really is it's inappropriate. Somebody gave me more information. I'm like, whoa, didn't see it that way.
Right.
So
whole new perspective.
Yeah, like wow. There's some things that I can't be budged on. I mean, there's morals, there's things like that are pretty solid with me, and that I don't like to be party to change in that regard. But I think that people are just wanting to become their best.
So Sue has a lot of like Susie-isms, I call them, and little like anecdotes of like,
they're all probably bullshit too,
I know, but I've fallen for them.
I do too. I fall for them too.
And you are full of like wisdom, and you are full of like good advice. I mean, you're one of the people I call whenever I have something going on. I'm like, Sue,
listen to this.
I call her Sue. Everyone else calls her Susie.
Give me a Susie-ism here because I need it, right?
Yes. And like she's got like great little
but
like
I
words of
can't
advice.
just pull them out of my butt. Like sometimes she goes, hit me,
Yeah.
I go, wait,
You're like, I gotta start writing them down.
let me get the Rolodex,
Right. But you are a person who has been through, you've lived your life, you've been through a lot of different things, and you learn from that without being like bitter or angry, right? I mean, I don't know you to be that at all.
No.
And you impose wisdom onto other people.
Again, anything that I've ever experienced in my life, for a long time, and I guess I'll talk about this. For a long time, I grew up in a very dysfunctional family. We used to say we put the fun in dysfunction, and I was pissed. I was like, well, this kind of sucks. I mean, case in point, my mom driving away going, have fun. Yeah, that was just one thing. And so it was difficult. There were I didn't live at home for a lot of my life, my young life. I lived with friends. I lived with grandparents. I lived with cousins. My sisters didn't have to live with other people. It was just me. And
why is that?
I tell you what, I finally asked. My mom passed away 27 years of sobriety, so we had a lot of time to make up. And I was so blessed to have lived through that with her, and go through her sobriety with her, and forgive her.
Huge. Forgiveness, right?
Huge. And to find out what the heck,
Right.
And she thought they thought I was too young. And my sisters kind of already knew what was going on, and they tried to protect me.
I was going to say, was it a protection mode that they tried to keep you away
but
from?
They couldn't, but it was one of those, they just thought maybe they could. But no, and we.
So they had good intention.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I lived with them, and then when high school came, I lived with other families, friends, and things like that. I left, went to California, lived with my sister for a while, and so I found a band out there I could sing with, and so I was just like doing survival mode,
Right.
I guess, but I don't know that I knew that it was survival mode. When you're doing it, you don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
So you look
And
back.
that
And
really
you look
is,
back and you're like, whoa.
right. And that really kind of creates who you become.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, there's that word. I love that word. Become.
You were saying it before Michelle Obama was.
Yes, I was.
You were.
Yeah, that was a
Like that was a
Susie-ism.
Susie-ism.
Yeah,
Like,
she took your Susie-ism.
I know.
That was a best-selling
man.
book.
I know.
Yeah.
But as much as I do like her,
I know.
it's
We can
okay,
forgive
I'll
her.
share.
We can forgive her.
Yeah, just her. I don't know. I think I was, I pumped gas when I was a kid, making money. I needed the money. I did everything for the money. My friends who work at a local store and make, $1.65 an hour, and I'm pumping gas making $3 an hour. That made sense to me.
It makes much more
Right,
sense,
right.
We can
You
double.
And so I was the first female gas pump jockey in DuPage
Oh, wow.
County, and and then I was a service writer for a dealership. I was the first woman to do that, and I drove an asphalt truck for a village municipality. First woman to do that.
So yeah, speaking on that, I mean, on
Yeah.
the topic, wow, yeah. So I mean, a woman in such a male-dominant
Music.
industry,
Music,
music. I mean,
yeah.
everything you've done.
I mean, there were
and
no women in rock
It
and
wasn't
roll.
like an easy, like, oh, come on in with open arms. Like you had to prove yourself.
I didn't want to. I wasn't going at it as a
At that
prove myself.
mentality, but
I did it because I liked to pay my rent.
and it
I
made
liked
sense.
to have a
That's-
new car.
It was
I
better money
know,
than other jobs.
So
Yeah.
that was a decision that you made of like, instead of doing this,
Yeah.
I'm going to go a little bit.
Well, and I wanted to go to school. I went
Yeah.
to conservatory music, and somebody had to pay for that. And it was me. I went to North Central for a year. We paid for that.
Yeah.
So, then the conservatory, and so I took the road that invited me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid, I really wanted to be an architect, or a rock star, one or the other.
Hey, you're a rock star though.
I know. And so one or the other, and then I was singing professionally, and I was singing for a number of years all through the circuit in Chicago and all the big clubs in Chicago. And I mean, it's cool, it's fun, it's a lot of money. You make decent money doing it. You're coming home at 4:30 in the morning. People have bought you drinks all night.
Sure.
And you're like, oh, I can't do this. And so I would go into a club. I started singing in clubs before I was legally able to be singing in them. And 17.
Rebel. How long have you been with the band that you're with now?
Oh, I've been with a gazillion bands.
Okay.
John and I started singing about 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
The one I'm currently with.
Okay.
But I mean, there's Bob Erickson, who you've met. Bobby and I have been jamming together on and off since we were 4 years old.
That is so
It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's a really tight-knit group of people.
Yeah, musicians, y'all know each other,
And then all through raising your daughter.
Actually, no. Then, like I was singing professionally, and I was lonely. I mean, the guys in the band, they had their wives and their girlfriends, and then there was me. And you get one more New Year's where you're not kissing someone that you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
It's all these strangers all the time, and a lot of them were groupies that would come, oh, Susie,
Yeah.
by midnight they're drunk,
Right.
And so I would go into every bar and I'd say, hey, listen, if someone wants to buy me a drink, because you didn't want to look like a brat. If someone wants to buy you something, if you say, oh, no, thank you, they'll say, oh, the girls, because you're the only girl.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're the lead singer. And so I'd say, give me a wine spritzer. I will order a wine spritzer, and it would be cranberry juice and 7-Up, to make it look like it was a wine spritzer, because I was getting loaded.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey.
Right.
And so I couldn't do that anymore. And I'm not a big drinker. I'm hardly a drinker.
Yeah.
and I kind of was hardly a drinker then, you know.
But you had to play the part.
Yeah.
You felt like you were playing the part.
Right.
The role,
Yeah,
you know.
right.
And so finally, I had a contract in my hand for a band wanted me out in California. And I just said, I don't want to do this anymore. And my agent was not happy. I had the pen in my hand to sign the contract, and I said, I don't want to do this. And
That crazy?
I walked away. Yeah.
And what was your main reason for saying no, but just didn't go right?
Music business is very, very hard. And it's not, music is my heart, not the music business.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was just very difficult to maintain relationships.
And how old were you at that time?
20.
Okay. And so at that point, were you ready to maybe think of family?
Yeah.
Settle down?
Yeah. And so, but I wasn't thinking about family as much as I was thinking about something else.
Stability in a way.
I just don't want to do this, you know.
Yeah.
So I went back to, pumping gas and school, and I was like, oh. And I met Brent, and I started going out. Well, I had been going out with another boy for quite some time, but that was crazy. And so I met Brent, and actually we got married in '74, and we were married just shy of 50 years when he passed away this past year.
Wow.
And they have an awesome daughter.
We have an awesome daughter. Well, Brent he never saw me sing.
That's right. Yeah.
He has never went.
No,
he
had listened to my recordings.
Isn't that wild?
But he doesn't.
He was like, go have fun.
That was her thing.
It was not his jam at all.
Yeah.
He said, "Go have fun. This is your thing. This is what you like to do. Go."
And how cool too that it wasn't his thing.
Yeah.
And he still supported you because he knew it was
Yes.
your thing.
Yeah, yeah. And he wasn't threatened by it.
Right. At all.
Yeah, I was just going to touch on that too. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know too many people who would have now. I mean, that's like unheard of almost.
It is very.
Like, my wife's in a band, but
I've never once seen it because
Well, he would listen. But, I think Brent really knew that I wasn't that type of a girl.
Yeah.
And I mean, like in all of
I
my,
just knew that was your passion, singing.
in the bands, I mean, those are my brothers. Those boys
Yeah.
are my brothers. They always have been. And from a very early age, I realized you don't date anybody in your band.
Right.
That you never, ever, 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 ever.
That's a good. Yeah, it's kind of like you don't date people that
You work with.
you work with.
Yeah.
Right. You don't.
You
Yeah.
just
You
don't.
just don't go there.
And all my girlfriends were like, "Oh my God, can you introduce me to so and so?" Oh God, I'm there when he's farting.
Yeah.
Like if you only knew, like, oh,
Yeah,
come
I
on,
know,
all right,
yeah,
I'll
impressed,
introduce you,
yeah.
but- yeah.
But anyhow, so no, I mean, like music is what I like.
Yeah.
Not the business.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got married 13 years before we even had Brittany.
I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Was that on purpose?
No,
Okay.
it was God just saying, you ain't ready.
It's not time.
And it was during that time, though, that I realized that I was saying that I had been kind of angry about the fun and dysfunctional family that I had. And so here it was like, I think I was 34 when I talked to my dad, and I said, what was up with all of that? And he was telling me that he was abused as a boy, and he's an only child. And his mother would say that children are like kittens; they should be taken in the gutter and drowned.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and she died when I was 10.
I was going to say, so how was that relationship with that grandma?
I loved her.
Oh,
She
you
was
did?
awesome. Yeah, but I think she was trying to make up for lost time with us
Oh,
kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think she had her craziness when she was young. And but anyhow, I started to think about that, and I thought, circles can keep going, and it needs to stop. This is stupid. This is just stupid.
Right.
And so I came up with the Susie-ism. The first thing you do is forgive yourself for being human, because we are all human. Then you forgive those around you for being human. And
Nobody is perfect.
No.
Yeah.
Not even
Uh-uh.
close.
Yeah.
so I forgave myself for the anger, because I felt like I wasted time, and I don't think that's ever.
And you don't want to be a bitter person.
No.
No.
No, and I wanted to be a cool mom. I wanted to be a loving person, which is what I feel like that's who I am, you know.
Okay.
But I also wanted to understand that anything that your parents have done doesn't, it's not always what it seems, you
Right.
know. Like it's sometimes it's just.
Well, I think if you look at your parents as people, I mean, I've done that. I think we've talked about
Yeah, we
that. It's
sure
where
have.
I've like, just looked at let's just say my mother, like what was it like for her growing up? What was
Yeah.
her environment?
Yeah.
What was it like when she was a new wife
Yeah.
and like a young mother?
Mhm.
And by the time that she got to me,
She had a history.
she had a total
Yeah.
history.
Yeah.
And then she did the best that she could with what she had at the time, right?
Right.
And then, but by the time I started like formulating opinions and memories, it was like, but as an adult now, I kind of look at,
Yeah.
And I think as a child too, you become a little selfish, right? Because you think like this should be all about me.
right.
Like why isn't my mom or my dad or
Yeah.
whoever, like
Yeah.
they should be doing it on me? Like that's all they are is a mom or a dad, right?
Mhm.
A
But
parent.
they really have all
But
this
really
other
they
stuff.
have-
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a human and they
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
other things
Yeah.
going on in their life and
You know,
experiences
you
that.
just said that, and I just don't remember ever thinking that or feeling that.
Not like consciously thinking that.
Like, what about me? What about my needs? You know, I don't know.
Or not your needs, but otherwise, like like when you had mentioned, like your sisters were, you were the one that was,
Living somewhere else.
Like,
Yeah.
and then you did get that like reason why, and it's
Yeah,
because they didn't want to
finally,
expose
but
you,
I was an adult.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but as a kid, I mean, I thought all of the problems in the house were because of me.
Right.
Because
Right,
I was
right.
the one who was
Right,
sent
right.
away.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I thought, what am I doing wrong?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
what's
crazy.
Yeah. I think growing up is hard.
Oh, we're still growing up.
Yeah.
I just think too, growing up nowadays, like these kids,
Oh.
with this social media and everything that they just have exposure to is
Right.
is in the
Right.
is in the meanness out there. And all
Yeah.
that, so
You had a good time growing up. Like kids
Yeah,
now
we had
are
a
like,
blast.
yeah. I think it was like starting to change I mean, social media wasn't around when I was in school.
Yeah.
It's still dinosaur era, but
Yeah.
it was, coming about, like different things were happening.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
So
No, I mean, like everything had to be we only had one line,
yeah.
one telephone
Yeah,
line.
Right.
And I was the youngest, so the older sisters were always yakking to
You got no
their
phone
friends.
time.
Yeah.
Very little phone time,
So I mean, you've done a lot. You've done a lot of different things, and that's what I always found so interesting about
Yeah,
you. It was like
yeah.
you would tell me something
Well,
like,
I was
"What?"
saying I wanted to be a architect. Well, when I started taking classes, I went, I hate this. This is stupid.
Right.
The reason why I hated it is the lines were too narrow that you had to stay with them. The rules were too firm.
They were too firm. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And so I was like, I am not liking this. And one of my sisters, she goes, interior design, Susie. Well, I'd been messing with her since she was 7 years old. I would rearrange our furniture and she was gone. And she, which bed is mine? And so I've done that my whole life.
Yes.
And so that's when I got into design, was after Brett and I were married.
And you've done some amazing things.
Like, I've had so much fun. Design is so fun.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you've helped me several times.
Yeah,
So.
we've had fun though.
Yes, but I mean, you've done from just remodels to full homes and
boats.
Yeah.
People fly me to go do their houses and bring them into.
I mean, that's such a gift too, because a lot of people just
You have
they
to
don't even know where
know.
to start. I mean,
Well, and also I think because you have to really get to know the person
I think
instead of imposing
Yeah.
your taste.
you have to be
right?
part psychologist
Yeah.
as
I
a
was
designer.
gonna say,
Yeah.
not everybody's taste is the same.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how many people would sit there with me and they'd say, well, I can tell you what I don't like, but that's not going to help you. And I go, oh,
It does.
It
Yeah.
really
It
helps
does,
me.
though.
Yeah.
Because I can check off, okay,
Where
don't
not
like
to go.
this, don't like
Yeah.
this, don't like this. And that points me, I said, no. And I think that interior designers have a preconceived notion. People have a preconceived notion about interior designers, like that they're going to come in and, wear the good bra and like, That is so not me.
With their heels on and walking
Yeah.
in there with the,
And I come in, I go, so, what's happening? And I break it down for them. I try to get them to be open and honest, and I want to know what brings their joy. My attitude towards interior design is we've all got these boxes that we live in. We're in a box right now,
absolutely,
and so what I try to do with every single job is I don't want it to just be a room. It doesn't need to look like a magazine cover. I want these boxes to reflect the love that you bring into this house. And these are just my opinions. There might be other designers out there that feel differently. But I just feel like the world outside is very scary, and even getting scarier every minute, and it's hard. And some days you're beat up a little bit more than others, and other days you did all right.
Right.
All right. I made it home another day. Yeah. But I want you to feel the minute you walk through that door, a big old hug.
Yeah.
And say, thank God I'm home.
I'm home.
So we talked about this in another podcast about, like, obviously because of me being in real estate,
right?
Like what, Stacey,
and we see a lot of cool stuff.
Yes. And Stacey asked me what's my idea of like a really, like my dream house, right?
Yeah.
So it's really not, because you've been with me through all of like the other houses, up to this point. It's like, it truly was like design and this will look great, whatever. I mean, you helped me. I have a story of a house I lived in where I had her come over. I'm like, Sue,
I need all new furniture.
I had been in this house like a year. And she's like, okay, I'm coming over. And
why did you think you needed
I was like, I don't like this
fitting?
room. No, it was like, I just wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, because it's a feeling.
It's a feeling. And I'm like, Sue, I hate the furniture. And she's like, you sat down, you're like, let's talk about this. And, we looked around. She's like, how about if we paint a different color? Because the room was like, how tall were those ceilings?
22-foot ceilings.
And I had like light walls and all these like walls of windows and whatever. And
that sounds like my dream home.
Right.
The windows and the tall walls.
But for me, remember how we said earlier?
Yeah.
Like, I like small, cozy, whatever.
She likes the hug.
Mm-hmm. So I'm like sitting there. I'm like, I think it's the couch. I'm not comfortable in this room.
Yeah, and I mean, she had just gotten that couch, I think. I want to say, did I sell you that couch?
Yeah, you did.
I mean, a year before, and she was like,
designed it.
Yeah, and she's like, I need all new furniture.
So she's like, how about if we like paint the room really dark? And I'm like, what?
Oh, yeah, and she was like shocked.
I'm like,
but
my
keep in
God.
mind, this is 15, 18 years ago. And
everybody wasn't doing like that dark.
No, nobody
was doing it. Are you the trendsetter over there?
Yes.
With her help, yes.
Well, when you stood at the front door and you saw this your landscape outside these windows, she had floor to ceiling windows, these beautiful trees, and it was like you were in a tree house. Yeah. And what I saw in my crazy brain was I wanted to frame that. I wanted to frame that picture, and everything in front of it is your furniture in your room. And so I looked at it like as big old frames, Yeah. And so we went black, and she's like, "Are you kidding me?" And I'm going, "No."
Like all walls black, or
yes.
like an accent wall, all walls black. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
And I was like, Sue, thank God I didn't have to like sell the furniture.
So, what color was the furniture?
It was like it was a tapestry print of like green and tan and gold, like this paisley. Right?
Yeah.
And it was just
so the color warmed, like
it worked.
The walls like warmed it up.
It totally worked.
So I mean, the black that we used was a warm black, but we pulled it out.
See, that's coming from like a home. Like, a warm black.
Yeah,
like,
because there's so many shades.
There are.
Blue, black, brown, black. Yeah.
So then, I was like, oh, thank God I didn't have to buy all new furniture. It's just like paint.
See?
Paint. She saved me. Yes.
Paint, baby. So
like, but it is getting to know the person and like, talking to them and
helping them come out in their homes. Like this isn't my house. This is your house. So I need to know who you are, where your light comes from, where your joy comes from, and that kind of stuff. And I've had a few contractors get angry because I've talked people out of doing what they thought they needed to do. You know, making a $200,000 project a $100,000 project, and I'll sit there and go, I'm going to be brutally honest. I will support whatever you want.
Yeah.
This is my experience. Yeah, this is what
I need to tell you that
and they're probably so thankful.
I would
Yeah,
not be
all said and
doing
done.
what you're talking about doing. Why? And then I'll tell them why. Because see, I've already gotten to know them, you know, and say, you are not going to use this space. What you're doing is you're Pinterest buying right now.
Right.
It looks great on the computer. Great.
Right.
Yeah,
You got into house.com and you're like freaking out saying, this is what I want. No, this is what they wanted.
Yeah.
I don't think this is what you want. Let's
Right.
find something within here that's great for you. And yeah, I talk them out of stuff as often as I do. I mean, I don't talk anyone into anything.
Sure.
I try to encourage them. You know, I always use the word consider rather than you need to.
Yeah,
Because
consider
who
that.
am
It's a big
I?
project. They're spending a lot of money.
Well,
Yeah.
who am I to say you need to?
Right.
Well, you need to do this. You know, to me that sounds like someone being a bossy mossy. And
Mossy Mossy, is that
That's a Susie-ism. And we're going to get to some of those
Oh,
because I
goodness.
want you to like share some of those.
elaborate.
I want you to, yeah, because I mean, you're like so full of wisdom. So,
I'm just so full.
so I just got another one.
Okay.
A bossy,
Bossy Mossy.
Never heard this.
Bossy Mossy.
First time.
Okay.
Okay,
Perfect.
there you go.
So let's talk. Okay, can we talk about the Susie-isms?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what about the one of mistaken identity?
Oh yeah.
We just had this conversation.
We just
the
had
other
this
day.
conversation.
Again. Like this comes up a lot in my life, by the way.
We had shared that before. I feel as though that when you have a relationship, or you've got a relationship, whether it be a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a parent, a kid, it doesn't matter. It's a relationship. And when you have a relationship, oftentimes we go into a relationship with expectations. And those expectations are often based upon what this person presents to you that they will be for you. Like, oh, I'll be your girlfriend. I'll be your boyfriend. Everything they do seems to say that. So you've got this expectation that they are my girlfriend, they are my boyfriend. Then you start living that, and time goes on, and the layers are pulled back a bit, and they really aren't what you really thought they were going to be. And so I call it mistaken identity. And so then you go into forgive yourself for being human.
You could almost write a book on that and just
I know.
title it that.
Yeah. And I mean, there's so much to that. There's so much to that, which leads into another Susie-ism. There's so much to that. Like you can have a relationship that you thought was going to be one thing because of all the indications, all the signs. I mean, this can go on for months and months, years and years. And suddenly it's illuminated that, oh, did I have too many expectations? Or did they present themselves falsely? Could be. But I don't care.
So what do you guys think about that though? Let's say you have expectations for whatever relationship. Let's just say it's your spouse or your new boyfriend. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
And so you have expectations. So what do you guys think of the difference between if you have expectations or standards, right?
Well, I say drop the expectation, understand the motivation.
There, okay.
Because I don't think, like I was in a situation a while back that someone had totally proclaimed to be a friend to me, a good friend, really good friend. I mean, like he was like a son to me.
Okay.
And for years and years. And I don't think that this person woke up every morning or any morning and said, how can I screw with Susie today?
Yeah.
I don't think people do that.
Mhm.
I think time allows us to see what's really happening. So I say drop the expectation, understand the motivation. No one has motivation to hurt you. No one consciously. What we're finding, so if we don't have expectations, then what do we have? Like, how do we deal with if we don't have expectations?
Mhm.
Are we supposed to go around blind going, yeah, yeah, yeah? I don't know. I don't think
Yeah.
I know.
I think we always have them.
I think that these experiences, that if they go south, let's call it going south, if in fact they aren't what they become mistaken identity, I think the reason why the universe puts those in our world is for us to know what it looks like.
Mhm.
And so maybe next time, and the big question here is maybe, that's the key word. Maybe
is
next
the
time,
word of the day.
maybe next time we will not choose that type of person, but maybe we will. How many of us sitting here know women? I know women that have dated the same guy, like in different names, 10 times over, and they keep wondering why he's such a jerk.
Right.
Well, guess what?
Mhm.
He might have had a different car, but it's
Yeah,
the same thing.
Yeah,
So
same thing.
But what is that thing? I don't know. I mean, that takes
Right.
some looking
Right.
at,
Right.
you know.
Dig into that a little bit.
So I don't know. I feel like the universe is always trying to teach us, and I think that again the word becoming. I think we need all of these things to become whom we're supposed to be.
Right. Right.
When
And
does
it's the
that
choices
happen?
that we make?
Yeah.
I hope it never
Yeah.
does happen, honey.
Yeah.
I really don't, because I don't want to ever like become
I'd be like done.
like for shit. No.
Okay. I've now become.
Yeah,
I'm
done becoming.
Yes.
You know, no, I want to
But
keep.
it is choices and decisions
Yeah.
and all
Evolving
these things and
and, yeah.
evolving. Yeah.
Yeah, and all of these things, honestly, like as I've gotten older, and God knows I'm older, these things change, you know, like relationships today are different
Yeah.
for me than they were 50 years ago,
Mhm.
you know, and I think the reason why, maybe I'm pickier and choosier in what I
Yeah.
choose to have in my life. I mean, I
Their circle. Yeah, we were talking about that.
choose to have you in my life,
Yeah.
and I don't know who I'd be without you in my life.
Yeah,
I
same.
mean, and I know a lot of people. Do I choose to have a lot of people that I would call and share the things you and I shared?
Well, I
Yeah,
think too, as
small.
we get older, because we were
Yeah,
talking about this earlier, is that as we get older, like we realize how fast life goes by.
Yeah.
In our
Right?
time.
In our time and our energy.
Yeah.
And it tends to, at least this has been my experience, and it sounds like for you,
Mhm.
you ladies too, that it's so much more quality over quantity
Yes,
of the
certainly.
circle of people that you allow.
Yeah,
into your
allow
life.
into your heart.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And it's nothing against people that, hi, how you doing? But they're not close to you.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
And you kind of build that because these are the people, this is your peace,
Yeah.
right? And they're the people who make you feel good.
Mhm.
And I
Right.
think sometimes we don't
Yeah.
get it till we're older, right?
Yeah.
So when we're younger, there's like, you kind of like expose yourself to everybody. You
Yeah.
want to be the, you want to
La-di-da,
be
You want the
la-di-da.
privacy.
yeah, right. And, but it's not always, it's not fun, right?
No. So that like kind of brings me to like another thing that we've talked about, and that's your Christmas tree analogy.
Oh, I love that. I do love that, especially since Christmas just happened. And it
and
is.
I'm wearing red
And
pants.
you're wearing the red pants.
Yeah.
Of
Of course,
so,
not ready
she
to give
needs
it
this
up.
analogy. Yes,
That's
she
right.
wore those pants just because she wanted to hear the story.
I know. Ho,
To remind.
ho, ho.
Yes.
Quit calling me names.
Right.
But I feel as though, all right, here's my little thing. I feel as though every person that I've encountered throughout my many years is important to me. So if you look at your life, good and bad. So if you look at your life as a Christmas tree, so you got a nice big Christmas tree standing there, and here comes Christmas, and you need to decorate that tree. Well, you have your ornaments. Well, what ornament do you pick and put right front eye center?
Your favorite.
Your favorite one. And so some people, like if you were to make that ornament a person, who would it be? Some people say it's God or their husband or their child or their mother or it doesn't matter. But they're front and center. That's your biggie. So then you put the next ones, and that's that circle thing that y'all were talking about. So now you're putting up all of those, and these people front and center on that side of the tree are people that you love. You love them, and they are your people.
Your ride and dies. Yeah.
Yep, ride or die. And so here's the front of the tree, and you got all these great people there. Well, who goes on the back of the tree? Those are your previous experiences that have allowed you to love the front half of the tree. I mean, these are the people that allowed you to become. So whether or not this person is a person in your life at this very particular moment, they did bring you something to your life. They brought something to your life, a learning experience of some sort. They are an ornament on your tree. And so I believe that every experience that we have and every person that we meet becomes an ornament on my tree. And some of them are on this side, but if they move over here, that doesn't mean I don't love them. It just means that we've kind of gotten what we needed out of the relationship. And God, that sounds so crappy to say.
But it's so true.
It's
because
true.
people come into your life and it could be
They come
something
and go.
maybe for a year, maybe
Right.
a month, maybe for
It doesn't mean you
doesn't
don't love
matter.
them.
Right.
It just means that things moved in a
Moved on,
different
everybody
direction, and I will
has a
always
life.
cherish what we had.
Right.
You know, and that's what I guess is so important.
And even if it's a negative experience, right?
Yeah.
You learn from it.
Hopefully that's the point.
Yeah, and hopefully you learn
That's
from
the
it.
point.
And,
Yeah.
Right. And you, again, that you have your
And you can be
standards.
thankful
Yes, you can be
from
thankful for that
learning
person.
from this bad experience, because now you know what it looks like. I always said that the universe puts that in front of my face so it knows what ugly looks like.
Yep.
No, right. It's true.
Is that another
You know what I
Susie-ism?
mean?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I could be a brat just like anybody else.
Yeah.
And if someone's a brat in front of me and I go, whoa, that was ugly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what would happen if I did it.
That's right.
So I try not to be ugly, even though sometimes I am.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Well,
You're front and center on my Christmas tree. So.
you have been for years and mine too, Lovey.
That is so cute.
Yeah.
So
We're very lucky.
yeah,
We're very lucky.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, here she's so much younger than me, and she likes the old broad around.
I do.
Well, she
You're not
clearly
old
has
broad, but,
a
like-
huge level of respect for you.
Well,
and
man, we've had fun.
We have had
We've
fun.
had fun.
We have had fun.
And we have so many similar. I mean, we're both have a lot of zest, and
Because we're both good people. And so good people like to surround themselves around.
Well,
good
this
people.
is likewise. I mean, that's what we keep
it's
talking
just,
about.
yeah,
That it's
energy,
like,
baby.
It's the
Energy.
Absolutely.
it is.
And again, people that come into your life, you don't know. I just recently met you. I mean,
Oh
I
my
wish
God!
would've
And
known
I
you my
feel
whole
like I've
life,
known you
but-
forever.
Yeah. So it's just so
Yeah.
cool that you never know when that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I think with that being said, this is so fun, and we're going to have a little game too.
Uh-oh,
I would
a game.
like to close it out with a game, but I do want to ask you too, though. Obviously, for the meaning of our podcast, She Decides, and it's about women empowerment and really providing that sense of hope and just inspiration for women. What is one piece of advice you would give to any woman who is has a opportunity to maybe start a business or become a really wonderful leadership position, and what's your Susie-ism there? What advice would you give to any woman who's really trying to balance life? Maybe she has children, maybe she so
Yeah.
I think a lot of women need to hear
I
that
think
from
that
people.
I think that if your passion is what you're doing, time will work its way out. It'll work its way. I mean, to me, raising Britt is probably the thing I'm most proud of in my whole entire life. She's uber cool and smart and free and just she's a hero to me. She's so much cooler than I am, and She goes, Mom, you're cool.
No, she had you to
Right,
look up
yeah,
to.
right.
I mean,
But she's smarter, and she was raised with two parents who adored her. Not that my parents didn't adore me; they probably did.
you know what? That would be
But-
interesting to hear her point of view on that.
Yeah, it would.
Mhm.
She's
Did
cool.
you say she's smarter? And I bet she might say you're.
Right, exactly,
Yeah, no,
She might say you're cooler too.
Yeah.
she's pretty smart, and like I'm this kind of smart. She's like she knows crap.
She is very cool.
Yeah. But I think that you have to live your life with honor. I think that you have to, which I mean, like I realized what an honor it was to take care of my ill husband for like 25 years. And I could have griped about that. And I don't think I did, that you ever heard.
No, I never heard.
I might have to myself, but I never.
Might have mumbled a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
you didn't.
I hate this.
Yeah, you never did.
And it got hard. It got very hard at times, very difficult. And it occurred to me shortly after he passed away that was probably the honor of my life, is to be able to physically, emotionally. I mean, I think of all these families that maybe she's the dad's in bad shape and the mom's in bad shape. Now what do you do?
Right.
What a blessing it was that I could live out those
I love
years
that you
with
have
them.
such a positive spin on that, because a lot of people will say, "Oh man, this sucks," and why me? Instead, you're like, "I'm grateful that it is me."
Yeah. I mean, I got to do it. It was an honor to get to do that. And I think that if you look at that in what you do, instead of the words, "Oh, I got to go to the grocery store." Oh, I get to go to the grocery store.
I get to, yeah.
Let's use the word "get to"
Right.
rather than "got to," because if you get to, that means you have enough money to put
It means
food
you're not
on your
going to be hungry
table.
tonight.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
I mean, I get to do this and this and this rather than I gotta.
Right.
No, I'm sorry. We get to do taxes. I'm sorry. I just almost vomited when I said that.
But you think of the positive there. I'm making money.
Right.
But at least I got
So
an
hard.
income.
Yeah.
At least I have some sort of an income.
Yeah.
I get to do taxes.
Right.
All right. Sometimes we have to push through.
Yeah, that's a
So if
big
somebody's trying to balance parenting, and if they were if like, oh, I'm going to open my own business, you better love it. You better love it.
passion. You better have passion
baby.
for what you're doing.
Yeah,
Yes, because it's a lot of work.
like
When
I
you get
can't see
passion,
myself
it's the
doing
best.
anything else. Maybe I always felt that way. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I did like driving a truck,
And,
I don't.
If you call and tell me that you're gonna go back to like driving a truck,
she's hanging it up.
will
She's
die.
no longer.
Yeah.
I thought about doing the trolley.
Oh right.
I mean, you guys could literally you want to be like you said,
I said I would do something in like tourism and travel.
Like,
Yeah.
drive the trolley, she can talk.
Right,
Say,
yes,
introduce
right.
the buildings.
Yes,
all that, the
right.
environment.
Oh,
See,
maybe I
there
did
you go.
something.
I know.
And I can see
My-
the
my
academic
friend
mentor
owns-
vibes.
my friend actually owns the company that does it. So
Really?
yeah, and she's
We
like,
should try to do it for like.
well,
one weekend.
I had to get a CDL license. I didn't need a CDL license with the municipality,
But you do for a
this.
trolley.
yeah, because there's people on it.
Oh.
Oh. Well,
Interesting.
So
can you do that? We should just do this for one weekend.
I know
Like,
it would be a loaner, but it
Oh my
costs
gosh,
like
you let me know when
$1,000.
you're doing it so I can
And over
come back
there.
for the
Yeah.
ride, literally.
That's exactly where I had my first kiss.
Yeah. We could do like the Naperville
Yeah.
tour.
Because they have to do
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Oh, okay. We could.
Yeah.
You've got it in. We
I
should
know,
do this.
I know.
Be
But
hilarious.
I mean, I love what I do,
yeah.
and I love.
All things that you do, like you love the
Yeah.
music side of it and the design
And if I
side
don't
of
love it, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So
I
definitely, you have to have passion.
Yeah.
Life is too short not to,
Yeah.
to work your passion.
Or have fun.
Have fun.
Yeah, one of my girlfriends has some illnesses, and she's bummed, and I would be too. I mean, what a bummer to not. She was talking about our when I grew up with her, and she's like, here we are in our final walk.
That's deep.
I'm like,
Jeez.
You're like, I'm over here still becoming.
Yeah.
Boom, boom. I'm gonna be kicking ass and taking names. See? I mean, I don't want it.
See, that's we.
I love it.
It's things like, you know, people ask me, when are you retiring? When are you going to quit? When
We
are
talked
you?
about this earlier.
Yeah,
too.
it's like
Then what?
that. Yeah,
Anyways,
I mean,
right.
maybe I'll do the trolley.
I know with me.
Yeah,
I mean, but you're still doing something.
yes, but
Yeah.
there's so many people I know that are like, I just want to retire and go to happy hour at 3:00 in Florida. Or whatever, I don't know.
Or
Like,
do nothing.
Yes,
That's
do
even worse than just,
nothing.
yeah, watch
Yes.
TV all day or
Oh,
something, and then it's
gosh.
just such a
That's
shame.
not me. I mean, like I said, I'll quit singing when I sound like crap more than one time.
Right.
And I'll quit designing when people don't want me to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't bring me joy, I hate to say that because it sounds like that girl that if it doesn't bring you joy.
Oh, the Spark Joy girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Marie Kondo.
I don't mean
I read the book.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't mean to sound like that person, but if I'm not having fun, I ain't doing it.
Yeah.
Right, and I think too, it's so important that we don't always love 100% of our job every single day. There's gotta be
Right.
the difficult parts.
But
there's
as long
gotta be
as
the
it's
parts,
like,
but at the end of the day, and if it's giving you happiness and you are working
But
your
even the
passion,
parts that you don't love, you learn something.
you'll learn. Yeah,
Right.
So, well,
absolutely.
and usually if you don't love it, it's because you're angry with yourself because you handled something poorly. And
sometimes it's a,
you
it's
know,
a mind game for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Because I would rather build something, do something that I love than going to work somewhere every day that I absolutely hate.
Oh, could you believe
And
it?
you
With
have
people
no-
that you don't like.
Yeah, people you don't like, and you
Yeah.
have no really control over your
Yeah.
destiny if you're doing that,
Right.
right? So,
Yeah, the only person in charge of you is you.
is you,
Mhm.
no matter
And the
situation.
only person that can give you joy is you.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to choose to hang out with the right people that feed that of you.
That was what I was going to say too. And don't let anybody talk you out of it that doesn't support you.
Mm-hmm.
No matter
Yeah.
who it is, friend, spouse, whoever, like, just don't. Like,
Just keep going.
Just keep going.
So with that, I have some questions for you. This is a game. This is
It's a
fun
game.
And it's a very quick game.
Okay.
So
Are there
this is fun.
prizes? Wait a minute. Are there prizes?
No.
There's no.
The prize is that you got to hang out with us.
Yeah. Ooh.
Well, there's no right or wrong answer.
Again.
Yeah.
No right or wrong answer.
Okay.
So it's called this or that, right?
Okay.
So what would you rather do? And I'm going to read. There's about 10 of them.
Okay.
Yeah, this is different than you
Yeah.
had, right? Public speaking or networking event?
Public speaking.
Structured schedule or go with the flow?
Go with the flow.
Dress to impress or comfy chick?
Comfy chick.
Coffee time or emails first?
Coffee time.
That's so funny. Spa day or adventure day?
Adventure.
This isn't podcasts or playlists.
I don't know. This has been pretty fun. Podcast.
Really? Okay. I was wondering on that
Yeah.
because of you, because obviously
Yeah.
being in a band and music your
Yeah, yeah.
whole life.
I can do playlist anytime.
Okay. I am digging podcasts too. Friday night in or girls' night out?
Ooh, I like both. I really like both. I like a girls' night though. I was saying to you the other day that I'm a lesbian.
Yes. Oh, this is funny. This is very funny. Yes. Don't even get on it.
I don't know, man.
I think because we were talking about my dating life or
Yeah.
something, and I'm like, this
Laugh thereof.
yes, and I'm like, Sue, I'm just gonna be alone the rest of my life, and you're like, hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
I said, because I'm a lesbian. She goes, what does that mean? I said, I love my girlfriends. I've always loved my girlfriends, but there's no sex.
So it's a lesbian.
So it's a lesbian. So LGBTQN.
Oh, no, that is a lesbian. I
It
love
says
it.
plus at the end of that.
Yeah,
So
so
this
that-
That's going to be your
this is
plus.
one of my, that's my
Lesbian.
plus.
She's
I
like,
love
I'm a
it.
lesbian. I'm like, oh gosh.
That's another Susie-ism.
I'm a
I love
lesbian.
it. I love it. Okay, so we have 3 more to go. And again, girl power here. Confidence or courage?
Courage.
I agree with that.
Because I think courage, if you have courage, you get confidence.
I agree because you don't always have confidence. I mean, sometimes you got to do things.
You
and
got to
you're
do
not
right.
things
confident,
that
but
you're
if you have
not
the courage
comfortable
to
with.
do it,
You
can
just
build
got to
that
do it,
confidence.
baby.
Yeah, that's right. All right, take the leap or wait for the right time.
Oh, take it.
There we go.
Right time may never come.
Right.
That's right. Yeah. And if you fail, that's all right.
Who
There's
cares?
another
Take it
day.
again.
Yep. Last but not least, Netflix.
Oh, that was a Susie-ism.
Huh.
Do what you do when you do it, and if it doesn't work out, you do something else.
That's right. That's right. You never know if you really like something until you try it. If you don't,
Mhm.
throw that spaghetti at the wall.
Right.
That's right.
All right. So last one, Netflix binge or a book marathon?
Dang it, I've been totally into Netflix lately, but I was like a major reader forever.
yeah.
I used to read like 3 books a week. I haven't been getting off on my reading lately. I don't know if it's my glasses or like maybe
Maybe you need some audiobooks
Yeah.
or something.
I do that in the car. In the car,
Yeah.
I like the audiobooks and the podcasts. But no, I love Netflix has been killing it.
You're in the
lately.
movies,
Yeah.
huh? You're watching the TV.
I was answering as she was asking. I was answering how I thought you answered, and I got all of them right.
You did?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Very good.
Look
Yeah,
at that. So she wins a prize.
Yeah, the girls' night in, or kind of.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I think she's gonna be like the girls or
Just
girls' night.
girls'
out, yeah.
night,
Yeah,
yeah.
girls' night. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think this was a lot of fun.
yeah,
Thanks,
thank
you
you.
guys.
It was so
It's so
fun.
good to share everything with you guys and to hear your stories too, by the way. So impressed. And
Well,
She is
likewise.
impressive.
And so are you,
You ladies
by
are
the
all
way.
impressive, and
you
that's
know, I
why
continue to be proud of you.
I know.
My little chicken.
That's why, our little chickadee. That's why it's so awesome just to have these just amazing inspirational women to.
I
just
think all
throw
women
it
are
all out there.
inspirational.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
and
for
I think
sure.
we should all support one another, and
Yep.
that's the reason why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, just if you take the time to get to look beyond whatever they're wearing or whatever. I mean, this has nothing to do with who this is.
That's right.
You know?
It's all within.
Yeah. So thanks a bunch for letting
Thanks
me
for
be part of
coming.
it.
Thank you so much.
It's always fun.
Me too.
Thanks,
Me too.
ladies. So we.
You know who made it?